Hey guys, it's Kelly here, and I just wanted to bob on quickly because, well, I've been thinking about it all morning really, and I've got so much going on that I'm just procrastinating so much. I haven't quite got up and ready today because we've got a day in today, and Elijah's been so unwell this morning, and I have literally had a morning of cleaning diarrhea up like everywhere. Um, so it's been a bit of a challenge. Um, but anyway, I just sort of wanted to say hello, really. And do you know what? Do you know what? Sometimes I do these videos and I lose my complete train of thought, and I lose where I'm going with it and why I was doing it and what it was really about. But say hello to somebody. Somebody's come to say hello. I have Shiloh with me right now. So I'm 40. I've been a bit thrown, by the way, and I don't really know what to say, because one of the problems with speaking on social media is when you talk about things, you also talk about other people's stories, and you don't always have permission to talk about other people's stories. And I was thrown last night because my auntie's husband was killed in a paragliding accident yesterday, and it's given me a lot to think about. And I think it's absolutely amazing that, you know, my auntie is going to have so much support, but obviously she will, and I don't want to be insensitive in any way, shape or form, because she's going to go through one of the biggest struggles now, you know, to lose a husband in such a way is very challenging. But to lose a child and not be able to bury them is a struggle every day. So one of the main reasons that I sort of wanted to come on and speak today is because I've got Alton Towers who are pretty much asking now, do I want the ballroom for the 21st of July? And I've been speaking with a Guardian today. In fact, I've been speaking to quite a few different people at the Guardian today. And I find it all so funny now, because when we first started this whole campaigning thing, people weren't really ready. They weren't willing to listen. They really weren't. I mean, I used to have to throw myself through places in order to sort of get people to listen and really sort of bang people's heads and sort of say, you know, look at it from this point of view. Look at it from this point of view. Yes, but what about from this point of view? Hey, Oliver, long time no see. You know, have a look at it from this point of view. And in fact, we've just had a bit of a conversation on one of the other social services sites, because a lot of people are obviously talking about social workers making reports and writing things down, and then they're basically calling it lying. Well, while I'm writing this book at the moment, it's really difficult to write things and make sure that it's got a true reflection. And with report writing, obviously you've got to do it in a very small synopsis. Media articles has to be done within a block. But with a book, then obviously you get to say things a bit more. And as long as everybody sort of goes from the beginning all the way through, they'll read it. But at the end of the day, they'll only read it within their interpretation. Now, so it's not necessarily lying. Now, I've been sitting this morning going through some of my paperwork, and I was reading a sentence on why, because I still really don't know why I have lost my kids. Now, I was reading this sentence, and it says that Kelly is so whatever it is, with her career, that she prioritises her career before her children. Now, that's quite funny, because I didn't actually have a career and I was on benefits. So it's not that it's a lie. Again, it comes down to misunderstanding. So anyway, I'm not here in particular to tell you anything in particular. I'm here because I'm processing my own thinking. I'm processing my own thoughts. I'm processing my own understanding of what's going on. And I'm deciding where I want to go with things, because I've got this little one, and Elijah is in bed at the moment, and he's really not well, bless his cotton socks. And I am pulled between my daily life of literally just sort of getting up, going out and thinking about me, my kids, my children's father, and you know, everyday normal things that I need to do. Now, it's challenging enough as it is in this flat, like major challenging. I still have a massive amount of ironing pile on the side with wardrobe space that it doesn't go into. I got mountains and mountains of paperwork, and I'm literally in a 1-bedroom flat. So to go out, it means I have to pack everything up to be able to go out for the day. And luckily here in Portsmouth, you know, I pretty much have everything on my doorstep. I'm on an island, and we can pretty much go do whatever it is that we want to do, budget permitted. But then there's this other direction. And then obviously people are really starting to speak now about state kidnapping. The papers are now calling it state kidnapping, and they're only talking about Section 20s. So they're only talking about the fact that social services are taking children on Section 20s and not returning them. And if you don't know, Section 20 is only voluntary, so you can actually go and get your kids. It really is that simple. And they're calling that state kidnapping. So let alone going through a 26-week court process and your children being placed on adoption orders, that, you know, this stuff's really coming out now. It really is. But it's got to be done in a different way. And I've had the chance this morning to speak to quite a few different people. And people's mindsets to what's going on now is becoming a lot more clearer, that this system is failing people, and not just from the children's point of view, but from adult social services as well, and the whole services. But at the end of the day, it only comes down to our perception of what's going on. And I've been through social services twice now, obviously since the adoption, but I'm sitting here and I'm still asking myself the same question. And it doesn't make any difference from before Aaron and Faith were taken to now. My situation hasn't changed. I'm still asking for, well, I'm not even asking now. Now I'm too scared to ask. This is the difference now. And this is what I suppose I really wanted to talk about, because I've had a bit of a morning where I've wanted to have a bit of a cry. I've needed to sort of put on a bit of a front for the boys, happy smiley faces and all that. And but I've been feeling very, very overwhelmed and very but a rabbit trapped in headlights, not quite sure which direction to go in, what way to go. And I've been sitting and going through loads of profiles today, and I've been having a look at obviously how people lead their lives, what people think, what's right, what's wrong, and even come on, there was an article today, and I get it, but did you know it's illegal to wear sunglasses when you're driving if they're of a certain length? I do get that, and it must be difficult. I've been in a car before where I've put sunglasses on, gone, whoa, you know, it's darker than I thought. So I do sort of get it. But, you know, when you, like, in a situation like that, could you imagine, say all of a sudden I get all this stuff sailed, next thing I'm going off, I'm buying a car, you know, I've got my car, I stick my sunglasses on, I drive down the road, all of a sudden some police officer decides to pull me over. I've got my kids in the car, I've been pulled over for wearing glasses, which means that's illegal, which means ultimately they can take your keys off of you and you can go down and you can be interviewed and everything, or they can just give you a ticket at the time. But ultimately, because I've got my children with me, then this becomes a different matter. And this is where I'm feeling really vulnerable, because I don't have anybody to look after my children. I don't even have anybody for the fact that I had to miss a meeting this morning because it was trying to work it around the kids. And, you know, most people have family, and most people have nans, granddads, uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, cousins, and no one mum is expected, and this is what makes me laugh, people expect me to be, excuse my French, a light Shiloh sitting down, but people expect me to be superwoman. And, you know, I'm meant to be able to do this all by myself. And if I don't, oh, well, then I failed. And then people want to point the fingers. And it's exactly the same as the situation in September. You know, Elijah literally was taken within like 2 seconds. Like, it was that quick. It was done within 2 seconds. That police officer literally just bounded past me and took Elijah within 2 seconds. And I reached out to family, even their family, and I reached out to many people to help, and they didn't. They fucking backed off again. And this is what I am getting so annoyed with, is I'm actually a really nice person. I'm a really good person. I am just somebody who has a physical condition, who is sick and tired of having to push herself constantly because of other people, and then putting myself in a vulnerable situation. And everybody thinks it's drama. Oh, Kelly slipped her discs. It's drama. Well, I didn't choose to have this condition. I didn't wake up one day and start reading through books and go, hey, you know, guess what condition I've got? I live with it. It's how my body works. And I'll just explain it again, because obviously it is National Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome Awareness. My concerns, hello Shiloh, my concerns are that Elijah definitely has this condition, 100%. And he's in bed this morning, and what is annoying me is people do not understand the emotional impact that it puts on children. I'm not here to call his father in any way, shape or form, but you know, Elijah hasn't seen him for 2 weeks, and I've now got a little boy who's lethargic, diarrheaing, cuddling up to mummy left, right and centre, because ultimately he's mourning his dad. And you know, other people will turn around and say, oh, that's not the case, that's not the case. He is mourning his dad. He is not able to express his emotions as a child. He's not able to tell you how he's feeling. He's not able to share, you know, what it is that he's thinking about or what he's going through. It only comes out in a manifestation of his body. And literally every time his dad sort of leaves, Elijah takes about 3 days. And then after that, it's about sort of 9 days into it, then he sort of goes down the other way. And I don't know how far it goes from there, because usually Dean's come back and then we go back through the same cycle again. But at the end of the day, Tuck is really going to be leading the way with the child abuse inquiry. But one of the things that I'm trying to piece together in my head, right, is, and I was talking to somebody, I met this mum yesterday, and funny enough, guess what? She's on freaking children in need. How many people in this country right now are sitting on fucking children in need or child protection? Now, at the end of the day, I can sit here and walk away from all of this. I can, and I'm rambling now. I'm rambling because, don't forget, the reason that I do these videos is because I get locked into my head and I start walking around and pacing up and down, and then I don't know what to do. And obviously I've got kids and I need to be able to function normally. Elijah's in bed, Shiloh sat with me. Now, I spoke to somebody this morning. So I've had the BBC this morning, I've had the Guardian this morning, I've spoken with a couple of the other journalists this morning, and one of the things that I've said is we need to live in a society where asking for help is not seen as weakness, where asking for help is actually seen as a strength. And also really understanding the people that you have around you. And I've always struggled. My family are of lots of different people, lots of different personalities. I'm actually quite lucky that a lot of my family do what they love, they do what they enjoy. Some of them are stuck in dead-end jobs, of course they are. But, you know, they know their passions, they know their identity, they know what they love to do, and they know who they are and what they're about. So that makes having conversations with my family a little bit easier. But what my family can't deal with is what they class as negativity. Positive people, all that, like positive conversations, don't like negativity. So what I'm talking about is classed as quite negative. But at the end of the day, because I know I've got a lot of anarchists that follow me as well, and anarchists are anti-state. But at the end of the day, I've just got a letter through from my GP. Yeah, I thought it was really funny. I'm not 40 for fucking 9 days, please. So I've just got a letter from the doctors to say that, you know, I'm 40, so I can come in for a free health check and get everything checked out. Now, tell me how I am understanding. The system is only us as individuals in employment. That's all it is. So you'll either choose to be a doctor, or I'm getting the most beautiful little smiles. He's like really cooing and looking up at me. He's just so gorgeous, aren't you? Um, so and these all these agencies basically just make up our services. But like Elijah Shiloh here now, you know, he has a birth certificate, he will have a passport, and you know the world is his oyster for him to be who he is and who he wants to be, and have the talents and the gifts and the skills that he wants. You know, even just this morning with Elijah, I put the periodic table of elements on. My son's going absolutely mad listening to this. That wouldn't give me any sense of of passion in any way, shape, or form, but it does my son. So my job as a mum is to help him achieve being his whole self, who he is and what he's about. And he's going to struggle as well because he's got the same body as me, and that means he can't do what it is that he wants to do. So I can't could be a very, very possible truth, which is a problem. But I'm not going to know. So literally, I've got about 9 days now. I'm going to turn 40 on the 17th of May. And by the time I turn 40, I want to be in a place where I have defragged so much stuff from the past and I'm still dealing with childhood trauma. I'm not necessarily dealing with it in a way where I am in trauma from it. What I'm dealing with is the fact that it's become such an issue to my current life right now. And I am wanting to get counselling for what I've been going through these last couple of years. But I'm worried. I'm worried that if I do, again, it comes under the mental health label. Straight away, I go back into the system again. And straight away, my children go back into social again. Now, that shouldn't be a problem. And if we were coming from the enabled point of view, then that wouldn't be a problem because to work with the services would be considered a good thing. It would just be as normal as eating and breathing and going through these services and being able to ring them up and going, right, I've got no help today. My son's not well today. Is there anyone who's able to help me? Now, at the end of the day, we are responsible. who are building a system around them that need to be supported by our system. I get that. But that shouldn't put people in a vulnerable situation for children to be taken, and we shouldn't be living with that fear in this country. And that's what I find difficult. That's what I find hard. And this is where families do need to start coming around people, because what I've noticed is when social services come in, family fuck off. And that is disgusting. And they leave people on their own in situations. Can't do anything. You know, and if people aren't willing to do that, then I'm not willing for them to have my children. Thanks, Oliver. Yeah, it does keep sort of freezing and stuff like that. When I press finish, it will upload if you want to watch it. But at the end of the day, like I've said, I don't necessarily do these videos for the audience. I do these videos for myself. I used to write diaries when I was a kid. You know, I used to keep journals to help me through, you know, challenging times. But what I is ready. Everybody who needs to know and who is doing things now, and I'm not talking about the people who've gone through it or the people who don't ask for the services. I'm talking about people in positions of power and authority are starting to wake up to the fact that they are causing long-term consequences to people that need to change. And as I said on one of the other videos, one of the judges actually said that he didn't take it into consideration the emotional impact that he was having on families. Now, I cannot layers and layers and layers and layers of trauma. What's going on with Elijah right now is causing trauma to my son. And what annoys me as well is, yet again, I have asked for Dean's family to get in contact with him, and yet again they won't get involved because people just go, oh, well, that's the way it is. But it's about time that people started to realise that there's a very innocent little baby here, and there's a very innocent little baby boy in the room next door, and there is a man who has trust issues, and there is a woman who has trust issues. And if we, every single 40-year-old in this country right now, stepped up and went, yeah, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, they don't necessarily know what they're talking about right now. Because really, it is only when you start getting to 40 and you go, wow, 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 what a freaking waste of my life. What exactly did I do with my life? And when you get to 40 and you start to realise the things that you didn't do, the things that you wanted to do, and the mothers, you know, you loved us once, and that goes to every single father out there right now, and every mother who is preventing fathers from seeing their children. I have got my differences with Dean, but I tell you what, if that man knocked on that door to see his children, that door would be open wide for him. And I don't care whether he got 4 minutes with them, an hour with them. You know, that time is about my children. And even if I have to explain to them that, you know, it's not the conventional way that dads pick children up on